actually modeled off of the Swiss system, you know, part of it. But Erenua, there's obstacles to Erenua. You know, number one, it's Irish formulated. A lot of the so-called peace initiatives that were formulated by the British and backed up by the Free State, you know, were done so because the Irish have created not just a solution, but a very viable solution, a solution that would work, and it's all-inclusive. When I say all-inclusive, it includes even the Loyalist and Unionist community, of course, because they are part of Ireland. And, you know, this agreement has been around for a long time. But because of censorship, because of, you know, British and Free State involvement in jettisoning this, you know, it's kind of been on the back burner. But
they've worked very hard to make sure people are unaware of the alternative that is available.
Absolutely. And you know what? Like in the United States, we part of the Erenua campaign is the Visa Denial Repeal campaign. Since 1974, members of you know, the Republican movement, Republican Sinn Féin, have been not denied entry, specifically Rory O'Brien, the president, to come here in the United States to talk to the American public about this viable solution. You know, and the NIFC, amongst other people and other activists, view this as a denial, you know, of our First Amendment
right
rights, our right to hear information on foreign policy.
And to judge it on its own merit.
On its own merit. Yeah. And that's the thing. What's happening is the British government and the Irish government are meddling in the rights through our government, are meddling in American rights to hear information concerning U.S. foreign policy on Ireland. And this is something that we're very, very strongly against, and we're pursuing this campaign diligently.
I would suggest people to read about Erenua first, of course, and to learn about it before you get involved. But even if you weren't supportive of the idea, which I don't understand why you wouldn't be, but if you weren't, you should be against the idea that it can't be discussed.
That you're being denied the information.
Or that it's ridiculous.
And our government is involved. They've been involved in Irish politics for a long, long time because of the strong, you know, Irish voting bloc here in the United States. You know, 30, 40 million, you know, people of Irish descent here in the United States. But this stuff is kept from the people. Again, it's not in the mass media about people being denied the information on government policies, especially the foreign policy on Ireland. And you know, they're very, very afraid of Erenua because Erenua is based in truth, you know, and they know when people hear this, the Good Friday Agreement would not stand up against it. You know, and this is one of the reasons why Rory O'Brien, this man is an educator. He's been in the Republican movement for over half a century, you know, and very educated man, very articulate, very well spoken, and
through his involvement in Erenua in the early, late 1960s, early 1970s.
Correct.
This is now this is decades now. That this alternative, that peace was being an attempt to make peace has been working, and since that attempt, they've been quieted.
And you know what? Well, we talked about the time when we interviewed Rory O'Brien, the president of Sinn Féin, here on the show, and we talked about how the Irish Republican movement, you know, the Army Council had actually chosen peace. They chose Erenua, you know, knowing what they had dealt with over the last 50 years. They did not want to go to war. You know, they chose peace. They chose Erenua and approved it. And Erenua was making strides.
It was making great headway
until the forces that had vested interest in the partition of Ireland and the status quo. Firstly, the Free State government, the Irish Free State government, and the British government. And by using people like Gerry Adams and Martin McGuinness and the rest of the hardcore provies, you know, they were able to ostracize, if you will, you know, the Republican movement and commandeer the Republican movement and steer it in the direction that it is now.
Into a non-Republican direction.
Exactly right, and this is what's happening. But you know what? You know, Pat, history shows that as long as there's a British presence in Ireland, there will be resistance. And it's very powerful. It is a viable solution for a just and lasting peace in Ireland. And Erenua, let's talk a little bit about Erenua. Erenua, before, you know, again, it proposes a 4-province federal Ireland with devolution of power down to the local level. And
now these provinces would already be in existence. There'd be Ulster, Munster, Leinster.
Yeah, the 4 historic provinces.
The important difference here would be Ulster would be brought back to its historic 9 counties instead of just the lone 6 counties now, which are currently occupied by Britain.
Exactly, and what would happen? The key thing here is the devolution of power. But this, this proposed government structure would create strong provincial parliaments here. In Ulster, we're going to talk about Ulster right now, and with that, they would have the unionist and loyalist community would have authentic access to power. It'd be based on proportion, okay?
Instead of fear and numbers and sectarian things such as what religion you are.
Right, and you know what, right now they're very fearful, and I tell you, I would be fearful too of being governed by the Irish government. They have all these tribunals going on. In the report by the John Rowntree organization, they deem the Irish government one of the most corrupt governments in Western Europe. And let's talk a little bit about the conditions, because Erenua is, I wouldn't say it's complicated, but it is, there's a lot of nuts and bolts, if you will, as far as Erenua on how it would work if it were implemented. And again, let's keep in mind that this is just a proposal. It is an alternative, but it is open-ended.
And it's not, what it means by not open-ended is it's not written in stone. The form we were talking about earlier there's currently a 4-page discussion going on Erenua with people, individuals giving their feelings on it and what they see in it and what they think. It's not written in stone. The writers of this have said that that open criticism is wanted, needed.
Right, absolutely.
And someone may come up with an idea tomorrow that may be added to it next year. I mean, you never. It's ongoing and changes. It's not. It wasn't just written. While the main structure of it has remained, certain aspects of it has changed in time. Yes,
right, because that's the key. The key ingredient.
The key ingredients will remain the same. Yes,
absolutely.